Tomorrow, the Raptors embark on the biggest series ever in this city, in this country, for basketball, as the Raptors are about to take on the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. And when Kawhi Leonard was traded here, there was a lot of speculation of who was the best player in the Eastern Conference. Who's the best team in the Eastern Conference? A lot of people, everybody really, said the Boston Celtics were number one. And the Raptors were number two after that. And a lot of people said, well, Kawhi, Giannis is probably the best player in the Eastern Conference. Kawhi is probably too. A lot of those things have changed. And the Raptors have overcome obstacles. A 2-0 deficit against the Milwaukee Bucks. Winning 4 straight after that. And making their way to the NBA Finals starting tomorrow night at 9 o'clock tip-off at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. There's been a lot of emotion with this Raptor team this season. And a lot of it lies on Kawhi Leonard, and we don't know what his future lies in Toronto. We can speculate all you want. You can say, well, this person said this, or this guy said this, but in the end, Kawhi makes the decision. We have no idea what's going to happen. So what we're going to do now is we're going to enjoy the finals, the first ever finals in Toronto. And like I said, guys, Game 1 goes at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Coming into the series, a lot of people have the Warriors cleaning the Raptors' clock. Now, we've heard this before, Raptor fans. We heard the Milwaukee Bucks were going to clean the clock of the Raptors, especially after the first 2 games of that series. A lot of people, including myself, had really high doubts after those 2 losses. But the real thing goes, and we've talked about it over and over, when you are never in trouble in a playoff series until you lose a game at home. And for the Raptors, yes, they lost those 2 games against Milwaukee on the road, but then they came back home, they won 2, then they went to Milwaukee, and they beat Milwaukee in Milwaukee. They were the first team to lose on home court. Raptors come home for Game 6 and win it. So that whole theory continues to be the same here, except we have the home court advantage here in the NBA Finals because the Raptors had the better record in the regular season. So games 1 and 2 are in Toronto. Obviously, game 1 without Kevin Durant in the lineup for the Golden State Warriors is obviously the one you want. Now, people are going to come here and say, well, the record with without Durant is pretty good. Now, I know that. I do understand that. I know they've only lost one time over the last however long it was without Kevin Durant, which is incredible. However, he is still Kevin Durant. And he traveled with the Warriors to Toronto, so that means he could be ready for Game 2. So if you're the Raptors, you want Game 1. Now, the Golden State Warriors without KD so far in this playoffs have done an exceptional job without him. Now, that is obviously because of Steph Curry becoming I don't want to say inhumane, but it's an inhuman, not a human player. Because he has been incredible. He was an amazing player in that series against the Portland Trailblazers, where I'm going to go that right here and see how Curry did throughout that series. He had a triple-double, 37, 13, and 11 in game 4, sorry. But he had 37, 36, 37, 36. That was that round, that matchup. That's incredible. So if I'm the Raptors, okay, and I look at, because we know with this Raptor team, the way they're going to win this series is off of their defense. We know that. We've learned that this series, this playoffs. Because the Milwaukee Bucks coming into that series through the first 2 rounds had averaged about 115 points. That's awesome. But in that series against Toronto, in the pivotal Game 5 and Game 6, and you can even go back as far as Game 4, the Raptors held them to under 105 in all 3 games. You go to Game 4, you have 102. They needed, they win that game, they have a 3-1 series lead going back home. But the Raptors play good defense, they get great offense, they score 120, and they head to Game 5. In Game 5, the Raptors give up 90, was it 90? Hold on. I'm going to find that here for you guys. When was that Game 5 performance? They give up 99. You win 105, 90. You give up under 100. Again, they average 115. And then game 6, in a must-win for them to stay alive, they score 94. So yes, we can hear about how the Golden State Warriors are an amazing offense, and they are. However, one of the best offensive efficiencies in the playoffs to this point had been the Milwaukee Bucks. Now it's not. Now, where do the Raptors thrive? We've already talked about that. Defense. With defensive points allowed in the playoffs so far, there are 16 teams who entered the playoffs, right? 8-8. That's 16. The Golden State Warriors have the 12th best defense in the playoffs so far in the first 3 rounds. That's nothing to be so proud about. The Raptors, second, behind the Milwaukee Bucks, who are now gone. If the Raptors can make their shots, because from what it sounds like, they're going to get their looks. It's whether they knock them down, we're going to have to wait and see. And from the Raptors' defensive standpoint, my personal opinion is this. Now, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but with Kevin Durant not being there in Game 1, my personal thought, and I don't know if it'll happen, is you look to put a guy like Kawhi Leonard on Steph Curry. You saw what happened when he went against Giannis. He torched him. That wasn't the matchup he really wanted to have to start the series. But then in Game 3, he said, okay, Giannis, you've dominated us so far. Here's our best player. See what you can do. And Kawhi Leonard shut the door. Now, Steph Curry, obviously, different position, different qualities. So it's a different kind of scenario there. But Kawhi can move with Curry. He's got one heck of a lengthy body. He's got the mittens. Why not give him? Is he gonna guard? Who's gonna start a small forward for Iguodala? Maybe. It's just a waste of time for Kawhi Leonard. Why not give him a chance? I don't know. I don't know. That's an idea, a thought, I guess, going into Game 1. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on all of that and a big X factor in this series. Danny Green. He had a horrendous Eastern Conference Finals. There was, 2 or 3 of the games, I think it was, played under 20 minutes. You know why? He started the game so bad, couldn't make any shots, that Nick Nurse is like, we can't let this dwell any longer. There's the bench. Fred VanVleet get out there and be an absolute stud. Because he was. This series is going to be a big one for Danny Green. Not only for his three-point shooting, but for his defense against Klay Thompson. Danny Green is an amazing defender. We know that. Kawhi Leonard is an amazing defender. We know that. But if Danny can not only make some shots, but clamp down on his defense on Klay Thompson, make it difficult. Put a couple of your best defensive players on their best players. See what can happen after that. In my personal eyes, the Raptors have the better bench and the better other options. Because if that's the case, those 2 guys I mentioned, Kyle Lowry is another option, Marc Gasol is another option, Pascal Siakam is another option, Fred VanVleet off the bench, Ibaka, Norman Powell. It's a lot of options. So if you're the Raptors, and we talked about it against LeBron years and years ago and all throughout the last few years. We talked about it in the last series against Giannis. You're not going to shut him down. You're not going to shut down Curry or Klay Thompson. But you have to find a way to contain them. Curry gets anything under 30. I think you're doing a good job. You got to play good defense against those 2 guys. Look, they shoot, and there's a big difference between Giannis and these 2 guys. Giannis drove a ton but couldn't shoot. These guys, you want to force them to drive instead of shoot threes. But the problem is with Steph Curry, he can have 2 guys draped all over him. He'll spin around and take a no-look shot, and he'll probably get it in anyways because he's a freak. He's an amazing player. He's one of the best of the century for the NBA. So this series is not going to be a cakewalk. Yes, you kind of, I wouldn't say reverse swept the Milwaukee Bucks, but you lost the first 2, then you won 4 straight. This series is going to be a grind. I don't know what the expectations are. I want to sit here and say Raptors and whatever, but it's not easy. They've won back-to-back championships. If I'm not mistaken, they've been there, 5 of the last 6 years or 4 of the last 5 years? They've won 3 of the last 4 years. This team is good. Very, very good. And the fact that they took it to Portland and absolutely schooled them like crazy. It's going to be a fight. And the Raptors need all hands on deck. And hey, Serge! Quick question. Not really a question, more of a statement. Keep it cool against Draymond Green. You know he's going to try and bait you into some stupid stuff. You know he's going to talk. So keep your mouth shut, Serge. Let your play do the talking. Because we need all hands on deck for this series. We don't need him to get Draymond to start saying stuff to Serge and him to flip out and punch him in the face. Great, he's gone for 2 or 3 games. That could be it for the Raptors. We need all hands on deck here. And we need everybody to play at the top of their game. You know? And they can do it. We've seen it now. I have a ton of faith in this team. But all we're going to have to do right now, guys, is sit back, take a deep breath, and watch Game 1 tomorrow night. Because, ooh, baby, it's going to be good. Because if you win that game, you win Game 1 at home, not only are you going to be jacked up, the media might sit there and go, oh, so they're not going to just lie down and get destroyed in the series. Put a seed of doubt in their mind. Make them make adjustments, I guess. And for the Raptors, you just got to do your thing. Make your shots. Play as hard defense as you had this series, this playoffs. You do that. You make your shots and you play the defense you have. I don't see why this team can't win the series. I just don't see it. You play like that, you're going to be NBA champions. Sound good, Raptor fans? Oh, does it ever. And we're all going to have to wait and see. Game 1 tomorrow night, 9 o'clock tip-off at Scotiabank Arena. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. You guys enjoyed this video, and you guys are absolutely jacked up for Game 1 tomorrow night. Smack that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your thoughts on this upcoming series. What are your thoughts on the Kawhi Leonard situation? Any X factors you have coming into this series? Like I said earlier, that my guy is Danny Green. If you want to say a guy like Marc Gasol, so be it. He's a big one as well. Siakam could be a big one. You know, there's lots and lots of X factors for the Toronto Raptors, and they have to do their thing. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on everything towards this team, this upcoming NBA Finals, and what your expectations are for this team in the Finals and tomorrow night. What are your thoughts? What are you going to be thinking? Where are you going to be watching tomorrow night as the Raptors and Warriors face off in Game 1 at 9 o'clock at Scotiabank Arena? All right, so guys, Evan and I will talk to you guys podcast edition. We actually already uploaded Season 2, Episode 21 of the Teal Sports Talk podcast a little bit early, not too long, from a couple hours ago. Links are in the description, guys, for the podcast channel and for the podcast itself on iTunes. Twitter is also down below. Follow up, send me a DM, guys. Do all that great stuff. And I will talk to you guys. Jays edition, they play tonight against the Rays in the finale of the series. Trent Thornton, Tyler Glass now. Blake Snell on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays. 7-10 first pitch down there at garbage Tropicana Field. But who the heck cares? Because the Toronto Raptors play Game 1 of the NBA Finals tomorrow night. 9 p.m. tip-off at Scotiabank Arena. Anybody going into the game, first off, holy smokes, you must have paid a fortune. Second of all, be loud, be proud, and just be a ruckus in there at Scotiabank Arena. And people going down to Jurassic Park, same thing. Go crazy. It's going to be a lot of fun there at Scotiabank Arena tomorrow night. All right, so thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you guys then.